Okay, so now we're going to, on part 2 of this problem, we're going to build those same visualizations, except now we're going to do them in Tableau. So the first thing I want to do is go to File, Microsoft Excel, and I want to pull in my file. Now, I am pulling in the file that we have not done any of the adding of columns to, because we're going to do that later. So let's go to sheet 1. I'm just going to I'm going to rename this Q1. So the first question was position versus salary. So what I'm going to do, click on position, hold the control, click on salary. I'm going to go over to show me, and I'm going to say, okay, I want a box and whisker plot. Now, we're taking a look at this. This is not exactly what we wanted. They did a bad job at guessing, but that's okay. We're going to fix it, because right now what it's done is it's given me the dots are the position. So that's how they're breaking it up. I actually want columns of that. So we're going to just drag the pill up into columns. Okay, and so there we go. We've got our salaries, we've got our columns. But once again, Tableau loves to aggregate data, immediately aggregates all the data. So we're going to go up here, analysis, get rid of the aggregate, and there we go. Now it gives us a dot for each and every position. Once again, wonderful thing about Tableau here is just the information that's available the information that is available to you really quickly. You can go at each of these boxes, the upper and lower whisker, the hinges, the upper and lower hinge would be the edges of our boxes, the first and third quartile. The median is in there too, and so that's where everything is equal numbers on one side as the other. And you can quickly go, now we were looking at pitcher and shortstop really close, and I guessed pitcher, which is a median of 1.1 million, and the shortstop is a median of 1.025 million, so I was wrong. The median's lower on shortstop. But it's really easy to see what's going on. And once again, you see every data point here, instead of just the ones that were kind of outliers. And in a box plot, an outlier is basically anything that's outside of that whisker. Now, one thing, this could be a little bit difficult to read because there's a lot of words here at the bottom. So for something like this, we can go up here and we can swap our rows and columns, put it sideways, and that's probably a little bit easier to read because these are large names here. And so now we've got the same data. And you've got, all the options that you had before. We can change salary. We can come over here and go to, let's see, what's the default properties, number format. We can go to our currency, get rid of our decimal points, and we kept the millions, and now we've got the dollar sign in there. Okay, so that was the first one. Let's go to the second sheet, and we're going to rename that Q2. And the second box plot was just whether or not it was a playoff team. And so that one is, we're just going to go here. Playoff team, hold control, pick salary, show me, box and whisker. And we end up with the same kind of thing where it is just giving us all of the data on there. So drag playoff team to salary. Once again, there we go. It's aggregated. So analysis, get rid of the aggregate. And there it is. Done. Notice salary. We made those changes before. Carried it through, so we don't have to make those changes again. That's great, and that's pretty much it. We don't have to move this around. This is fine the way it is. These are short names here. This is easy to look at. So the last one that we're going to deal with is question 3. Now, question 3, we had a data series that we made of whether it was a playoff team, non-playoff team, or a World Series team. If you bring in the data from the completed Excel sheet, basically you just do what we did on these ones here. But I did not. I specifically opened the old one. So what we're going to do is we are going to create a new property, new calculated property, just like we did in one of the other problems. So we are going to go and we are going to create a calculated field. And this is basically, we're just making a new variable. This is analogous to the column that we just made. And so we did this for the violent crime example in Chapter 2. So what we're going to do is World Series playoff, non-playoff is going to be our variable. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to do an IIF statement. So remember, there's an if statement, there's an IIF statement. The IIF statement has the structure very similar to Excel, so this is the one that I end up using the most. We're going to open that up, and once again, the help pops up. You do the test. If the test is true, then this. If it's not, else. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to look and see if it's a World Series team. And so I started typing it in. It goes, hey, I've got a variable here, that's fine. And I'm going to hit tab, and that auto-completes that. So it just fills it all in. So does that equal yes? So once again, quotation marks for text string, comma. If it is yes, it's going to come back and it's going to say World Series. So that's if yes. Else, so what happens if no? Well, if no, we're going to run another if statement, IIF. And so then the test for that's going to be playoff team, tab to autocomplete. If it comes back as a playoff team, we're going to have it go playoff. Otherwise, we'll have it return non-playoff. And there we go. Close that up. It contains errors. Where are my errors? That's what I've got to figure out. Oh, I need a second. There we go. Okay. IFF. What do I have here that's incorrect? And once again, I got kind of ahead of myself. So I just have playoff team, but I'm not making the test. Kind of stupid of me. So we'll go in and we'll put in yes. And there we go. Now the calculation is valid. So sometimes you just got to be careful with the coding. I was being a little bit sloppy, but now we've got that fixed. Hit OK. And so here we go. Now we've got this new variable. World Series, playoff, non-playoff. I go back to my data source, and you will see now that we have this column there. Now we're going to be able to put together that box and whisker plot using that data. And so once again, this should be pretty quick because it's the same as the others. We will hold our new variable, hit Control, hit salary, go show me, box plots, and then we're going to go through the exact same stuff. We're going to drag this up because we want that in the columns. And we're going to tell it not to aggregate. And then I'm just going to leave it like this because, once again, these are kind of short. Being up and down is fine. The box plots are a little bit more, there's a little bit more tweaking that we have to do to have it work in Tableau. Sometimes it might be a little bit easier in Excel to do the box plot, but, you know, Tableau looks a little bit better, you get better information. And so it really just comes down to what you need to use at the time. It is very good to know multiple ways to do things, whether it is in Excel or Tableau. If you know both ways, some things will be easier in one than the other, but if you know how to do both of them, you're going to be able to make very crisp graphics to really drill down into data, and also, more importantly, to be able to present the data to other people, whether it's in written form or presentation form. And communication is exceedingly important when we're dealing with anything, especially something like a lot of data that we're trying to get a point across to. Okay, and so that is the end of this problem.